Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. You know, I've never really made a video, one of those videos when you're driving along there like I know some people do. And I probably should take advantage of it every now and then because quite frankly, I do spend a lot of time driving. At any rate, I wanted to make another video along the lines of a video I made in the past called The Duty of Our Citizens. Except the topic for this video will be voting, okay? Now, whenever you see me discuss politics, which is rarely on a video, I never suggest that you should follow one particular party or one particular candidate. I don't believe that I should try to influence people from one way or another in my videos, because what I want to get across to people is that they need to get out and they need to do their duty as citizens and vote. You know, it's quite amazing to me that for a country like the United States, who boasts about its liberties and freedoms and the fact that we have representative government, you know, the will of the people and all of that stuff, we have such a poor turnout to vote. And that is one of our most important duties as citizens, in my opinion. Now, both of my parents were very civically minded and active, okay? To the point where they didn't always see eye to eye, although they did quite much of the time. But Dad would always try to influence Mom, and my mother would have nothing to do with it. She was going to choose a particular candidate individually to vote for. And she went to great lengths to make sure that she had a good grasp on what that individual stood for and what they had done in the past. And then she would make her decision then. My father, being a union official for the Seafarers International Union, he was, you know, pretty much down the party line for his Democrats, because it's just difficult to find Republicans that don't want to get rid of the union movement here in the United States. So every now and then there would be controversy in our household between my mother and my father. My mother never prescribed to one party or another. She looked at the candidates individually. And that's what I suggest. I follow my mother's footsteps as far as that. And she would also get involved. Candidates that she liked, she would get involved with their campaigns. She would get involved with working at the polls. My mother really instilled into me that we have a civic duty, and what greater way to express that and express our freedoms is to get out and to vote. Okay? Now, there has been a lot of videos made on YouTube about politics, and I'm not going to go over any platform or anything of that nature, but let me tell you this: we as Americans, we suck at getting out and voting. The percentages, in my opinion, are just awful. You know what, 60% maybe for a presidential election? Are you kidding me, really? That's disgusting. For a country that likes to kick back on their laurels and brag, you need to get out there and do your part as citizens. You know, lots of people like to hand out quotes from our founding fathers. Well, let me give you a quote that my mother taught me, and that is from Ben Franklin. And it basically goes like, the most important job in government is private citizen. Okay? The most important job in government is private citizen. And that is something that I really have taken to heart my entire adult life. Now, I admit that I don't get involved with campaigns as much as I would like. And by the way, I don't mean just every 4 years getting involved with a presidential election. I'm talking about city council. I'm talking about your sheriff. I'm talking about a mayor. Whatever local elections you have are important, as long as and our state, not just federal elections. Okay, all these elections, they do play a part in our lives, whether we want to agree with it or not. So this video is about getting out and doing your part as a citizen of the United States. Okay, I'll tell you a really short story. I'm sure many of you know it. This is kind of personal for me because it was told to me by somebody that was there. Okay, and he happens to be the son of a good friend of mine. At any rate, he was serving in Iraq during that very first election. And they had been informed and forewarned that there was going to be violence surrounding that election day. All right. He was part of a group that happened to be in this village that was going to be providing security for those individuals, for those citizens as they went to vote. And don't you know that when the polls opened, right when the polls opened, there were bombings, there were violence with people shooting and RPGs. It just a terrible thing all throughout that area, including the area that my friend's son was at. And he said the violence was amazing. You know, people just cutting loose and fire into the lines of people that were standing there waiting to vote. And amazingly enough, those people stayed. Many people were injured that my friend's son saw, and yet they scattered, and then they would come right back to the polls because they wanted to take part. They wanted to take part in an election. They wanted a little bit of something that you and I take for granted, and that is voting in our representatives. Okay? That always just was an amazing story to me, because I know people in my life that, you know, when I ask them did they vote, well, you know, I didn't get up early enough, and, you know, when I worked late, I went to the polls. There was big old long lines, so I went home. Or, you know, I was just too busy. Nah, I don't really like either one of the candidates. All these excuses that you hear. Well, I say that if you don't like the candidates, then maybe we collectively haven't done a good enough job to put forth candidates that we like. Okay? And whether the candidate that you backed is in the race or not, you still have a great opportunity to make a difference. So get out there and vote. I don't care if it's raining, snowing, I don't care if it's 20 below. We have an awesome responsibility into ensuring that we put representatives into government that represent us. A lot of people complain about our government. I say get involved. Get involved in your community. Get involved in state elections. Get involved in federal elections. If everyone did that, then the true will of the people would be followed. And if we stayed on top of our candidates, the people that do get elected, if we stay on them, they have no choice but to do the will of the people. Okay? So that's basically my message for this video. Get involved. Get out to vote. Make your voice heard. We have had elections where each and every vote does count. Okay? So remember that. Do your duty as a citizen. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and remember to shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.